Have any of you ever heard of Project 2025? This isn't a trick question either, and no one has responded. So let me help you. Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to enter the Heritage Foundation's mandate for leadership, the Conservative Promise, Project 2025, Chapter 10, Department of Agriculture, pages 289 through 318 into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you so much. This action plan, written by Trump's closest advisors, has a whole lot to say about the Farm Bill that I don't think my colleagues on this committee will like. It calls for the elimination of the sugar program, which would destroy what is left of our domestic sugar industry at a time when they are already struggling. These Trump advisors also call to eliminate the Vital Conservation Reserve program, pulling the rug out from farmers and ranchers all across the country. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. I encourage everyone watching this to read what I just entered into the record. Let me try to sum it up in just a couple of words. My question for each member of the panel, in a word: what would be the impact if the next Farm Bill completely eliminated ARC and PLC payments? If there's anyone that can answer. No one? Okay, so no one knows. Well, I will tell you the unthinkable, what happened. Trump's advisors in Project 2025 also call for the elimination of these vital programs. What we on the Agriculture Committee know to be a vital support to ensure our farmers and ranchers don't lose their land because of the cyclical nature of production of agriculture, Trump's advisors view as, and I quote, especially egregious examples of what they think needs to be cut. Frankly, if you want to put more farm in the Farm Bill, we need to get a Farm Bill reauthorized and out the gate before these anti-farmer advisors have a chance to be in the White House, depending on how the November election goes. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And before I begin my official remarks, I'm just curious to know, are any of the witnesses of the opinion that inflation is something that only hit the United States, or is it something that was global? Does anyone know the answer to this strict question? Anybody? Inflation global or limited to United States? No one knows. Interesting. I'll give you the answer. It was global because the pandemic was global. So this is going to be an interesting time. Let me get to my official remarks. I hope we can get some answers on some of these questions. We all agree that a 5-year Farm Bill authorization has a significant impact on the farm economy we are here to talk about today. Unfortunately, in pursuing pointless partisan political pandering policies for the Heritage Foundation types like cruelly cutting SNAP, my Republican colleagues have forestalled any kind of bipartisan deal needed to actually pass a bill in a divided government. Now, we all know that jumping from extension to extension is hurting our farmers and ranchers who aren't able to pay or plan for the future when they don't know what the policy will be. That is why I thought we were all on the same page that we needed to get a bipartisan Farm Bill reauthorized as soon as possible. Yet over the last few weeks, more and more of my Republican colleagues are suggesting that it wouldn't be so bad if we waited until 2025 to pass a Farm Bill. Well, I want to nip that talk right in the bud and make sure everyone understands just how devastating that could be for the farm economy and, in fact, the entire economy. You see, my Republican colleagues who think a 2025 Farm Bill would be worth waiting for think that way because they think a potential Trump administration would be good for the bill. For those who think that a potential Trump administration wouldn't actually take steps to achieve these policies, let me remind you of something many Americans have forgotten. In the waning days of the Trump administration, December 2020, the President of the United States vetoed the National Defense Authorization Act 2 days before Christmas. Funding for our troops was jeopardized because advisors wanted to show their support for Confederate traitors. In an emboldened potential next Trump administration, it is sadly far too easy to imagine a veto of the Farm Bill that doesn't have these terrible provisions. So to my Republican colleagues gambling on a potential Trump administration, I am asking you to put our farmers and ranchers first. Drop this nonsensical, non-starter SNAP cut. Come back to the negotiating table and work with the Democrats to get the Farm Bill passed this year. Failing to do so by far is the biggest threat to our farm economy. With that, I yield.